उमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Continuing with the instructions of Lord Kapila, now specifically in the matter of Archa or deity incarnation of the Lord. So there are various considerations we are seeing in relation to deity worship of the Lord. Simply being engaged in the worship of the deity, not considering the devotees of the Lord, is, as stated in the previous verses, not beneficial. Shri Krishna Balarama ki. It is not accepted fully. So continuing here, another point is made. Archadav archayet tavat. We have to worship the Archa Vigraha until Ishvaram Mam Swakarmakrit. Swakarmakrit, by being engaged in one's own prescribed duties. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions, yes, there are prescribed duties, 4 varnas and 4 ashramas, brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa, and then brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra. So one must perform these prescribed duties. A grihastha cannot, in the pretext of devotional service or giving this as a reason, neglect to take care of his family members, his wife and children. That is not accepted. Or a brahmachari, in the name of being transcendental, he cannot neglect the rules and regulations of ashram life. So, wherever we are situated, the prescribed duties we need to follow. And simply following them is also not okay. We are supposed to not neglect. Very clearly, Srila Prabhupada stresses on this. No one should be lazy under the plea of devotional service. One has to execute devotional service according to the prescribed duties. Swakarmakrit means that one should discharge the duties prescribed for him without neglect. So without neglecting, we should perform our prescribed duties. Another instruction we find in the Bhagavatam. Yes, we should perform our prescribed duties. We shouldn't neglect that. But is performing our prescribed duties all in all? No. Dharmasvanushtitaha pumsam vishvaksena kathasuyaha notpadayed yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. Simply being engaged in performing the prescribed duties, but not aiming towards, not gaining affinity, attraction towards the Supreme Lord, hearing about Him, then it is shrama eva hi kevalam, simply useless labor. So that also we need to check. Prescribed duties also we are supposed to do. And we should check whether am I progressing towards devotion, attraction, love towards the Supreme Lord. If it is not there, then again it is Shrama eva hi kevalam. So both ends we should be aware and we need to know the balance. Then Ishvaram mam svakarmakrit yavan na veda svahridi. Ishvaram mam na veda svahridi. I am seated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. So if one is not aware of this, and the Lord is not only seated in my own heart, but it is seated in everyone's heart. Sarva bhuteshu avasthitam. So if he is not aware of this, that means he has not yet reached the highest platform. So what is he supposed to do? He should continue to perform his prescribed duties and the worship of the deity in the temple. He shouldn't think, already I am become liberated, now these prescribed duties or deity services are not required for me. He shouldn't neglect these. He should continue to perform his prescribed duties. He should continue to perform the deity worship of the Supreme Lord along with his prescribed duties and continue them till he is fully realized of the Paramatma feature in his own heart and in the heart of other living entities. Now, so here as it is mentioned, so 3 points let us consider. The first one is performance of prescribed duties. 4 varnas, generally referring to that. 4 varnas, 4 ashrama, that is a prescribed duty according to the Vedic standard. Next is worshipping the deity form of the Lord. So that is still something higher. Just performing prescribed duty is not sufficient. Along with that, we need to worship the deity of the Lord also. This is what recommended especially for like Prabhupada says here, the beginning of the purport itself. Worship of the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is prescribed herewith even for persons who are simply discharging their prescribed duties. So this is what we generally recommend to people while preaching. Just doing your duty or whatever, that is not sufficient. Come to temple, participate in the temple programs of whatever deity services going on here, festivals, everything. And little more advanced, we recommend, yes, you can make your own home a temple by establishing the deities of Radha Krishna, Nitai Gauranga, Krishna Balram there and worshipping them, making them as the center of all of your household activities. So just doing prescribed duties is not sufficient. We need to perform deity services as well. And then the next level of recognition. Okay, I am doing my prescribed duty, I am doing my whatever deity services nicely, I don't care for others. Now this also cannot be accepted. We should be aware of the Lord, His relationship with all living entities. We need to respect every living entity according to whatever their own standards. Because 2 considerations. One is the Lord, He has expanded Himself into all these different living entities, and then the Lord personally He is being seated in each of them as the Paramatma. So due respect needs to be given. So this is the next level. So somewhere we are stuck up somewhere, it will not be sufficient. We need to progress gradually. Perform our prescribed duties, worship the deity of the Lord, and learn how to deal with it may be other devotees of the Lord, it may be even karmis, outside whatever people who may not be devotees. We should be aware of how to deal with them appropriately, giving them also due respect. Now, in the matter of whatever prescribed duties, when we speak of the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, specifically followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the teachings of all of our past acharyas, let us consider how should we go ahead in whatever doing all of these things. We see the instruction from Bhagavatam, Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha Abhira Shumbha Yavana Khasadayah Ye Anye Cha Papa Yadupashrayashrayaha Shuddhyanti Tasmai Prabha Vishnave Namaha. Whatever fallen condition we may be in, by taking shelter of a pure devotee of the Lord, being guided by His instructions, the lowest of the men can be completely purified. This is what Bhagavatam says. Now, considering all of our case, sadhakas, we are trying. We are not something born of some rich or whatever, pious, big heritage, family tradition, background. No, we are all products of Kali Yuga, coming from various whatever fallen backgrounds, with all bad habits and no proper training in devotional services from maybe our early childhood. So considering these things, so how much more, just like all these things, performance of prescribed duties, there itself we fail. And next, performing deity services, whatever the high purity standards we may not be having, and elevating to the next level and all. So it is so very important for us to take shelter of a pure devotee and perform all of these things. In order to understand what is my prescribed duty, we approach the spiritual master, pure devotee. How to perform deity services, especially now in Kali Yuga, wherein Rupa Goswami has mentioned 64 items and all of in considerations in deity services. Everything we may not be able to do. What we can do, what things, whatever we are unable to do, depending on time, place, circumstances, we approach the spiritual master to take specific instructions, and then how to deal with others. For that also, we take instructions from the spiritual master. So here, attachment to the spiritual master, his instructions, making his instructions our life and soul is of primary importance. In this connection, this song, every day we sing Guru Vandana, Guru Puja time, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, Chitte Te Koriya Aikya, and then Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati, being attached to his lotus feet. That is the way of perfection in life. Similarly, Narottam Das Thakur, another song he has composed. This also brings out the mood of the devotees in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is a famous song, Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, Say Mora Sampada. So there, Narottam Das Thakur sings, the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami, yes, that is, Say Mora Sampada, that is my wealth. Say Mora Bhajana Pujana, the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami is my bhajana and pujana, that is my worship, that is my puja, daily ritual. Say Mora Pranadhana, that is my wealth of life. Say Mora Abharana, the lotus feet taking into my heart, that is what? Only then will I become attractive in spiritual life, when I impress the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami in my heart. And then Semora Jivanera Jivana, that is my life of life. Semora Rasanidhi, Semora Vancha Siddhi. So that is Rasanidhi. All the mellows are contained there. Vancha Siddhi. All of my desires will be fulfilled when I can worship them properly. Semora Vedera Dharma. That is the dharma prescribed to me in the Vedas, worshipping the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami. Se vrata, se tapa, se mora mantra japa. That is my vrata, that is my tapasya, that is my mantra japa. Se mora dharma karama. All of my prescribed duties is this. So this is how, when we attach our consciousness in worshipping the spiritual master, a pure devotee of the Lord, following his instructions, then all the things mentioned here, worshipping the deity according to his instruction, following prescribed duties, what is my prescribed, in analyzing and executing that according to his instruction, and how to relate with others as per his directions. All of these things will be clear. So now I'll be reading out one portion from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is the story narrated by Nityananda Prabhu to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his associates when they were traveling for the first time from Navadvipa to Jagannath Puri. On the way, different temples they visited, and one of the temples they visited is that of Sakshi Gopal. So Nityananda Prabhu very elaborately, very nicely explains this story to all the devotees who are accompanying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there we have heard this story sufficiently of the two Brahmanas. It may appear externally as if some marriage affair, some issues for the marriage of one boy and a girl, whatever. But this was heard by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great relish. So many intricate dealings with devotees we can see here. The faith which the younger Brahmana had in the deity of Gopala in Vrindavan, and the way he understood the mindset of the elderly Brahmana, what situation is he undergoing, why is he deviating from the truth, and his dealing with the son of that elderly Brahmana. All of these things let us try to analyze. So after all the issue of, like, say, promise made in front of the Gopal deity in Vrindavan, that the elderly Brahmana told, no, I will promise, I'll give my daughter to you, what may come. And then they both of them go back to their homes, and when the elderly Brahmana discussed this with his family members, all of them were completely against it. They did not agree for this proposal. No, how can we give? He is a very poor man. No, we cannot. Especially the wife of the elderly Brahmana, his son, they did not agree at all. They threatened him. If at all you go against our wish, we'll commit suicide and we'll lose our life. We are not ready for this proposal. His relatives, nobody agreed for this. So this Brahmana was in a fix, what to do. And his son told, okay, don't worry, no need of fearing of telling lies. You just keep quiet and tell that you don't remember anything, rest I'll take care. The next day, the young Brahmana arrives in their home to remind the elderly Brahmana of his promise. So he says, no, I don't remember. And this whatever opportunity was taken up by the elderly Brahmana's son, and he started chastising him and took a stick and went to beat him, and he shooed him away. That you have come in whatever asking for my sister, what qualification do you have? And he just sent him off. And this young Brahmana, he went to the village heads, the authorities in the village, and he lodged a complaint, and meeting was called. And in that meeting also, the elderly Brahmana's son accused him of having given some poisonous material to his father and made him unconscious, robbed him of all his money during the travel time, and all of these accusations were put upon the young Brahmana. And finally he says, no, Gopala deity, he is the witness, he is there available. So immediately the elderly Brahmana's son, he says, no, okay, then bring Gopala as a witness here, then I'll give my sister in marriage to you. So this was agreed by the elderly Brahmana's son. This was agreed by even the elderly Brahmana. Yes, if Gopala deity comes here, yes, easily, then as a witness I can hand over my daughter to him. So this young Brahmana, he also agreed for that. Yes, he is there as a witness, I will bring him. So put it on writing. I can't believe you. Put it in white and black. And he set off his journey to Vrindavan. So there, again he went to the temple of Lord Gopala, and he spoke with the Lord. Tabe se chota vipra gela Vrindavana, dandavat kari kahe sabha vivarana. Offering dandavat to the Lord, he gave what all happened in his village, everything he started explaining to Lord Gopala there. Then, Brahmanya deva tumi bada dayamaya, dui viprera dharma rakha haya sadaya. He said, my Lord, you are the protector of Brahminical culture, and you are also very merciful. Therefore, kindly show your great mercy by protecting the religious principles of us two Brahmanas. So it may be my promise or the elderly Brahmana's promise. He is also a great devotee of yours. He has promised in front of you, but because of whatever family, some problem happening, he is deviating now. So you kindly help us, protect our dharma, our prescribed duties. Because Brahmana means Satya, Shaucha, all these, being truthful is one of the important characteristic of a Brahmana. Now this elderly Brahmana, he is deviating from the truthful path, being put in an awkward situation. So you kindly help both of us. So this is the plea he places in front of Lord Gopala. Kanya paba moramane iha nahi sukha Brahmanera pratignyaya ei bada dukha. It's not that I want his daughter for my marriage, that is not my intention. This Brahmana, he is deviating from his religious path, from his swakarma. That is giving me pain. So you kindly help us. My dear Lord, I am not thinking to become happy by getting the daughter as a bride. I am simply thinking that the Brahmana has broken his promise, and that is giving me great pain. Eta jani tumi sakshi deha dayamaya, jani sakshi nahi deya tara papahaya. So considering all these things, eta jani tumi sakshi, you are the sakshi or witness for this. So you should come and bear witness for this. Even after knowing the truth, if a person conceals it, not speaks out, then he'll be committing sin. So you don't become sinful by not bearing witness during this time. So he said, the young Brahmana continued, my dear sir, you are very merciful and you know everything. He's addressing Gopala. Therefore, kindly be a witness in this case. A person who knows things as they are and still does not bear witness becomes involved in sinful activities. So he's telling to Lord Gopala, you will become sinful by not bearing witness. So you have to come with me to bear witness. So there in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, the dealings between a devotee and the Lord are very simple. The young Brahmana said to the Lord, you know everything, but bear witness, you will be involved in sinful activities. There is no possibility, however, of the Lord's being involved in sinful activities. So we are fully aware. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha. For the Lord, no karma will touch him. But still, a pure devotee, even though he knows everything of the Supreme Lord, can speak with the Lord exactly as if he were a common man. Although the dealings between the Lord and his devotee are always very simple and open, there is formality. All these things happen because of the connection between the Lord and the devotee. So we should be aware of the way, the disposition of the Supreme Lord, his relationship with his devotees, and simple dealings between them. So this young Brahmana is calling the deity, come and bear witness. If you don't bear witness, you will be incurring sinful reactions. This is how he is addressing the Lord. So here, that's what, as I mentioned earlier, all these things, see the key 3 points mentioned in today's verse. One is performance of prescribed duties. Swakarma krit. We need to perform prescribed duties, not neglect it. The second is worship the deity of the Lord. Archadav archayet tavat. Worshipping the deity of the Lord. This also needs to be done. And the third, Ishwaram mam Veda Swahridi. Veda means understanding that Ishwaram or the Supreme Lord is situated in my heart. Not only in my heart, Sarva Bhuteshu Avasthitam. He is seated in everyone's heart. So all these 3 considerations, so we can see in this simple story. So one by one, some 4 or 5 points are there. Let us try to analyze from different viewpoints. See, this is an example what I am trying to give of a devotee who is situated in this platform, who knows how to perform his prescribed duties, who knows how to worship the deity of the Lord and relate with the deity of the Lord, and who knows how to deal with other devotees and people in general. So that's what we see here. First thing is, no intention of teaching a lesson to that elderly Brahmana's son who came to hit him or who lied in front of all people. Here in this case we can see this young Brahmana, he was attacked with a stick, and in spite of that, this young Brahmana did not counter-attack him. Oh, you are trying to hit me with a stick, I will show you whatever. No, that was not the way. What he did? What did he do? Depend on? How? Did he depend on the Lord and simply kept quiet? No. He took an action. He prayed. No, he did not pray in this context. See, the elderly Brahmana's son came with a stick and tried to hit him. So he ran away at that moment. Next, what he did? He went to the, approached the authorities. Yes, he went to the village heads, whatever, village authorities, and informed them. So that as a matter of duty, what needs to be done, he did. It's not with some ill feeling towards that, whatever, elderly Brahmana's son. No. But he did his duty. He did not become fearful. Oh, they are trying to hit me. Okay, let me forget this issue of whatever, getting married with his daughter. Let me go away. No, he was persistent. This was a promise made. This elderly Brahmana is put into such a situation, whatever. So he is trying from his end what can be done. So he went and first approached the village authorities for justice. And then Okay, after going there and approaching the village authorities, okay, he expressed his whatever plea, and then the instructions, finally what he got in that meeting of an almost impossible task of going back to Vrindavan all the way and bringing Lord Gopala as the witness to Vidyanagara. Almost an impossible task was whatever finally delegated to him, and he took it up. So how much faith, how much courage it requires. He had full faith. No, Gopala is there as witness. If I call him, he will come. He will bear witness, and then yes, whatever the promise of this elderly Brahmana should be whatever put into action. And then no ill feeling against the elderly Brahmana who deviated from truth. The elderly Brahmana had promised. Now he is deviating. He did not have any ill feelings towards him. Oh, he had promised me, but today he is not giving his daughter to me, so let me teach him a lesson. No, he is understanding his situation. Actually, he is very truthful. He is a very great devotee of the Lord. He never breaks promises. That too, the promise made in front of Lord Gopala. But he is put in an awkward situation. His wife, his son, they are not agreeing for that. So, he is whatever forcefully being deviated from truthful path. So he is understanding this situation and not just blaming him and trying to help him out. So that's the intention. Wanted to help the elderly Brahmana to keep his words intact, what he had promised in front of Gopala. His intention was not to teach them a lesson or wanting his girl, the daughter or whatever, to help the elderly Brahmana to keep up his promise. That was his intent. And never, of course, that whatever his girl, somehow I should get that girl in marriage for me. That was never his intent. So here we see that younger Brahmana was very sensitive, aware of the situation of the elderly Brahmana, of whatever fear, losing his family members, all those things. So very sensitively, in a very appropriate manner, very boldly, courageously, with full faith in whatever the deity form of the Lord, that yes, he will come. The Lord, he is very mercifully disposed towards his devotees, and we are put into such an awkward situation now of deviating from our religious duties. The Lord will definitely help us. With this faith, he all the way went back to Vrindavana and presented all the case in front of the Lord and requested the Lord, in fact persuaded the Lord, you have to come, bear witness and help us. So this is the whatever dealings we can see with the devotee, with the Supreme Lord in his deity form, how this younger Brahmana dealt with the elderly Brahmana who was another devotee, how he dealt with the elderly Brahmana's son, who was not a very, not a devotee, maybe just like a karmi. He was thinking of whatever money, and my sister should be married to some rich man, not this poor Brahmana, and he was ready to tell lies, all those things. Still with him also how he dealt very tactfully, taking the help of village authorities, all of these things we can see in this beautiful story. So these are the various considerations we need to be aware of, and appropriately we need to deal with this. So as I told you earlier, one thing is to be aware of these things, and second thing, to get the energy, to get the Shakti, to implement, though we may be knowing many things, what to do, what not to do, to put it into action also, it requires the mercy, blessings of the Supreme Lord. So ultimately, the concluding thing is what I would like to say: being attached to the instructions of the spiritual master, being guided by his instructions at every walk of our life, And even though sometimes may deviate, still again pray to Him. By His mercy alone, we can implement all of the teachings what is given here by Lord Kapila in this portion of the Bhagavatam. To conclude with this, Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki,